Well, the Politics Show's North West political editor David Woodthorpe has been camped out in the constituency this week. How's it all looking up there?
It's looking very, very tight indeed. Look, this should be solid Labour territory. There's a majority over 7,000 here, and the Tories would need an 8% swing to take this seat of Crewe and Nantwich. But if you talk to people in the two towns, one message comes over time and time again. It's what could lose the seat for Labour. It's the 10p tax debacle, and it's the issue of the rising cost of living. The Conservatives are mining those two issues like mad, and the U-turn in the week over 10p tax doesn't seem to have made so much difference. Labour, of course, are playing the toff card and saying that the Conservative candidate, Edward Timpson, well, he's a grandee, he's a millionaire, and he won't be able to represent the people like their candidate, who is Tamsin Dunwoody, and she is the daughter of the former Labour MP here, Gwyneth Dunwoody. For the Liberal Democrats, you have Elizabeth Shenton. Now, for the Liberal Democrats, they were third last time. I suspect they'll be third this time unless the Labour vote melts down. Now, that's not impossible, despite having Tamsin Dunwoody here as their representative, because of that anger. And I was out with Tamsin Dunwoody earlier this week, and there was a fascinating exchange with a Labour voter, someone who's staying with the party. And that chap said to her, look, he said, you expect the Conservatives to put a foot on your throat, rub your nose in the dirt, and then turn round to you and say, well, say thank you. But you don't expect it from your own mob. And I think that sums up just how angry people are. And those Labour voters, at the moment, they're looking to move straight from Labour to Conservative. They don't seem to be, at the moment, stopping with the Liberal Democrats on the way. It's going to be very, very close. 1,000 votes either way, said one Labour organiser. Eric Pickles, who's running the Tory campaign, also said very, very close. Hold your hats for Thursday. It's going to be very, very tight.
OK, David, promises to be absolutely fascinating. Well, you may remember that we spoke to the Conservatives about their chances in Crewe and Nantwich a couple of weeks ago on the programme. The Lib Dems are the traditional by-election specialists, and Chris Huhne is up there for them today. Chris Huhne, thanks very much for being with us. There used to be a time when we would hear about Labour, Liberal Democrat bandwagons rolling. Seems to be as stationary as that train behind you.
Well, if I had £5 for every time I've heard commentators say that the Liberal Democrat bandwagon isn't rolling at by-elections, I'd be very rich indeed. It seems to me that there are a lot of Labour supporters who are traditional Labour voters in this constituency who are now saying, well, hang on, we're not going to vote for the Labour Party this time because we know that they've let us down, both locally and let us down, for example, on doubling the 10p tax rate on some of the lowest paid. But the Conservatives didn't even oppose that when it came up in Parliament last year. So a lot of Labour people are going to be actually thinking about voting Liberal Democrat in the run-up to Thursday. And I believe there's going to be a very pleasant surprise for our candidate on Thursday.
Yeah, because you dumped your original candidate, and he's emailed us to say the selection process by the Liberal Democrats was a sham and I'm still seething with anger. This from the party that believes in decentralisation.
Well, we've always had a special process, as all the parties do, for by-election candidates, recognising that by-elections are a special sort of election. And there's inevitably an enormous amount of pressure put on candidates in a by-election, and that's something that all the parties recognise, and I'm afraid that's the case with us as well.
OK, Chris Huhne, thank you very much. They're up in Crewe, and Harriet Harman